I don't remember the exact date, but I was invited to go to Paris, and it was funded by the French government. And there were a number of prominent speakers, and I was supposed to speak on Legionnaire's disease. And the incredible thing is, they paid for my entire family, both lodging and economy class airfare. Well, here's the story. So we get on the airplane, and we're excited to go to Paris. And partway through the trip, an announcement goes on to the from the stewardess. Is there a doctor on this plane? Is there a doctor on this plane? If so, press your light button. Well, I've sort of been in that situation, and this is a trap. You end up doing something, and it sort of ruins your whole trip. And I'm watching the National Lampoon comedy, and there's no way that I'm going to not finish this show. I would never pay money to see it, but here's my one chance. And then a second call goes up, and boy, I'm not stupid. I'm not answering that call. And when the third one calls, I look around, and Ting and Chen are looking at me, sort of wondering what I'm going to do. So I take a deep breath, and I walk up to the stewardess, and I'm dressed in my blue hooded sweatshirt that I wear even today, and very informal. And I say to her, I'm a physician. And she looks me up and down, and she says, are you a graduate of an American medical school? And that is the actual truth. She actually said that to me, and I went, oh my gosh. So she ends up taking me to see a patient who turns out to have chest pain. And I look, and I know I've been suckered in. The first thing I do is I see the National Lampoon going on without me because I don't have my earphones on. So I can't even hear it. So I look at the guy, and they clear the seat next to him. And so I talk with him. I said, what is your problem? He says, I have chest pain. And I'm thinking, just get a brown paper bag and blow into it. People hyperventilate and all sorts of things. So that's the last thing I do. I've missed probably an important part, and I hate to, see the middle of a movie. It just ruins it for me. So I talked to the nurse, or the stewardess, and I'm very annoyed, and I said, get me a glass of orange juice right now. I mean, she's been I was a little offended by the way she addressed me in the first place. So she quickly brings a glass of orange juice, and I go, thank you. I drank it because I was so thirsty. Gave her back the cup, she looks at me. Then I said, could you bring me the medical kit? And she doesn't know what I'm talking about. And I said, it's the medical kit that has a stethoscope, and it has nitroglycerin, and it actually has vials of morphine, I believe. So I asked for that. And then quickly she does bring it, and there's a stethoscope. So I asked the passenger, who I judge would be in his late 30s or early 40s. What could a young guy, relatively young guy like that, have a problem with? And so he has chest pain. So I'm going to go through all the machinations. I take his blood pressure, which is normal. Now I unbutton his shirt to listen to his heart, and hopefully I'll get back to my seat soon. And I'm startled when he opens his shirt. There's a zipper going right up his chest. Well, what's a zipper? In doctor's parlance, he has a surgical scar, and the stitches go horizontally, so it looks like a zipper. This guy has had cardiothoracic surgery, and now it's a new ballgame. I said, what is that? And he said, I have had open heart surgery with coronary bypass. And I looked at him, but I said, you're so young. And he says, I had it a year ago, and I go to Johns Hopkins every year for my medical checkup. And now I know I'm going to miss the movie, the entire movie. So I listened to his chest, and it's fine. No murmur, normal cardia, that is, pulse rate is good. And then I asked him to take some nitroglycerin. And does he have any chest pain? And he has some lingering chest pain, but I insist that he take the nitroglycerin. And I listened to him, and I know what it's going to be all about. Every 30 minutes, I'm going to have to take his blood pressure and then ask him. And if he has some problems, the worst thing I have to do is give him mouth-to-mouth respiration, because that's what we did in those days. We'd compress his chest and so forth. But so I take his blood pressure, everything is fine, and I sit next to him. I'm thinking about getting the earplugs so I can see the rest of the movie, but it's just, maybe I'll see it on the return flight. So I do that, and at first I do it every 15 to 20 minutes, but things are stable. So I actually set the timer, so every 30 minutes I'll be reminded, and then he'll let me know if anything happens. About a half hour to an hour later, the captain shows up, and I said, yes, and he says, "Doctor, we're at the halfway point now. If you think we should go back to JFK Kennedy in New York, which is the starting point, we can go back now. This is exactly the halfway. After this, if you really want to, if you sense an emergency, we'll have to, we won't go to Paris, we'll go to Gatwick Airport in London." And I'm thinking, this is my free trip to Paris. No way am I going back. Onward to Paris. And I said, "No problem. We go to Paris." And the captain says, "Well, we'll drop the level down to 30,000 feet or something like that, that there's more oxygen." That's fine with me, just as long as we get to Paris. So we go to Paris, and actually it's relatively uneventful. And I'm so happy, and we land, and I've already known that there's an ambulance on the ground waiting, and they're all ready. And as we land, the first guy to get off, of course, is this passenger, and the medics come in, and they've got a cart, and he says, no, he says, "I'm fine, I feel great, thank you, doctor, for saving my life," and shakes my hands, and tries to walk off. They literally tackle him, grab him, slam him onto the gurney, strap him down, and he disappears. So anyway, as we get off the plane, the captain and the stewardess come up to me and say, "Doctor, thank you very much. We really appreciated what you went through. And to show our appreciation, we're going to upgrade you to first class on your return trip to the United States." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yes, that's the least we could do." And considering that it was a movie that I lost, okay. No, and I said, "Oh, thank you. And will you take my family too?"